welcome to the MenoLounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, high fiber and protein bars. We got a great conversation today, but I want to ask you a question. Do I look older? A little older? I turned 61 last weekend and it feels great. What the heck? Who knew that 61 would feel so fantastic? Hey, I see you here, April. I'm going to bring you up right now. A really important conversation. In fact, somebody messaged me and said, I have been waiting to have this conversation. So I'm excited to have you on, April, from MiDOViA. We are talking about why menopause is the next workplace wellness revolution. That's what we're talking about today, April. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on. It's so great to be here.
Same. I don't know if we met when I was in Seattle or I only met Kim.
I think you only met Kim.
Okay.
Yeah, I unfortunately had the flu at the time. So, you get me now nice and healthy.
I like it better.
Yeah.
So exciting. You guys are doing great things in Seattle. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, everybody. I was just saying how I turned 61 over the weekend. I'm like, it's older. Oh, well, I like it. Thanks. I'm keeping it. Kim, let's talk about this. Sorry, I said Kim. You are April, co-founder, MiDOViA. Love that name, by the way. And we're talking today about why menopause is the new next workplace wellness revolution. Really, really important. First of all, tell us a little bit about MiDOViA itself, and then I'm going to dive right in about why you believe menopause is the next workplace revolution, because that's a big statement.
It is. It's a lot. It's a mouthful. But, in a nutshell, the easiest way to explain what we do is we come alongside organizations and we have conversations with them and we help them identify how they can help employees thrive through menopause. So organizations are looking for solutions on how to retain employees, how to support them through midlife, and we come alongside them and help them to determine what that roadmap looks like for their organization. And it's different. It's different for every organization, right? Every size, industry has different needs and different budgets.
Culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they are in the conversation.
Cultures, exactly.
Yeah, huge. Okay, so how do we land on why it's the next workplace wellness revolution, menopause?
Yeah, and that's exciting when you say that, by the way. It's really exciting. But, if we think about the number of people going through menopause right now, it's significant. And we're talking about 20% of the workforce right now that's in the menopause transition, and 45% are nearing that menopause stage. So that's a lot of women.
Who's left?
Who's left? Yeah. It's 6,000 on average, guesstimated, that enter menopause every day. It's a lot of women. And so if organizations want to retain that talent, they're going to have to figure out a way to support the women that are in menopause. Because we do know on the other side of it that we're considering leaving the workplace due to menopause symptoms, we're quitting work, we're not taking that promotion, we're decreasing our hours. There's data now. 3 years ago, when we started our organization, we didn't have that data, but we do now. We have surveys that have been conducted by multiple organizations. So if we don't want to lose the talent, then we have to figure out how to support women at this stage of life. That's why it's the next revolution. And the organizations that, do a good job are going to be the winners. I don't know if you follow Bradley Sherman or not, but he's fantastic. And he does a lot of work in this workplace state, and he looks at demographics and workplace demographics. And he had a book, and I don't have it here, I would show it to you. He has a book that states that the workplace is going to, let me rephrase that a better way. That you're going to see more employees that are 65 and older by 2030 than 18 and younger. So the shift in workplace demographics is changing as well. And I think his last stat was 96.5% It was estimated a 96.5% increase in workers 75 plus by 2030. So we're living longer, we're
Right.
healthier, we're eating your MenoWell bars, we're exercising, right? We're more educated population right now.
And we want to work. We still want to contribute and be
Yeah,
vital and not just sit at home.
That's right. We want to work and we can work, right? And really, when we think about where we are, you know, you just turned 61, I'm turning 58 this year. I mean, I'm in a place in my life where my daughter's getting married in July. My son has a girlfriend and he has his job. We're empty nesters. My husband still has his career. I want to work. I don't want to sit at home. And I have a lot to offer because of the experience that I've built over the years. So we're talking about women that have the time as well.
We finally have the time because kids are up and out the door. Right. You've had children and you've got your life back, if you will, or you're in a different stage. You know, we raised 3 of our own. And that's part of, you know, when you get into your 50s, you actually have time again that you can be intentional versus running around taking somebody here to this field or that thing or you know. Let's see. Christine, also Ollie Cassie says this is significant in healthcare where population of women is high. Absolutely. That's significant impact in healthcare, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are industries that have a higher female demographic, and healthcare is one. Social work, educators, you know, you look at the healthcare industry, regardless of what that is, whether that is a hospital setting, whether that's a dental office, it's significantly high. Exactly. And then, and I do want to point out too, that I don't want to discount the fact that, that organizations or trades that might not have a high population of women don't need menopause support either. I mean, I'll give you an example. We work with the Sheet Metals organization, and they're the funnest people to work with. They have about a 4% population of female workers, but they want to increase that to 10%. The only way you're going to do that is make it a menopause friendly, midlife friendly environment for them. If you think about, you know, sheet metal workers and just the equipment that they have to wear to do the job, and then imagine having hot flashes.
You're right.
You know, you really have to think about that. Exactly.
Shout out to her who can do all that.
Right? You're like, you are a badass. Yeah. You are a badass.
Yeah. Oh my God. But here's Christine saying in perimenopause too, because women are calling out of work and she's in healthcare. That's right. And then I think about postmenopausal women who we have all the knowledge. We carry the history. We are the leaders. We are in the C-suite, or we are senior in our work. And to have us walk out the door is a huge financial loss and impact for companies. So what are you seeing in terms of impact of not having a menopause related program for companies, or really showing that they care about women going through the menopausal transition?
Well, you stated a few things, right? I mean, women are considering leaving the workplace. They're walking out as is it Cassie? I need my.
She's actually Christine. Sorry. That's her secret Instagram name. I outed you.
But you're spot on. They're calling out of work, and what we're seeing is this is not showing up on absenteeism reports. So HR is not able to run a report and tell the C-suite, this is how many women are calling out because of menopausal symptoms. WebMD Health Services did a great survey on menopause in the workplace Q4 of last year, and it showed that over 90% of women were afraid to ask for accommodations or to talk about their menopausal symptoms and the support that they needed for fear of losing their job. And we've got to change that. We have to change the culture, and that takes time. It takes time in industries that aren't female dominated. So we're looking at organizations that are losing revenue. You know, they're paying for these days off, for the time that women are calling in, for the headaches that a perimenopausal woman has once a month. She's missing a couple of days of work. And then it goes without saying, presenteeism. It's kind of the elephant in the room that I like to bring up. That's okay to bring it up here, because we talk a lot about brain fog. We talk about lack of being present at work because of brain fog, and maybe even lack of sleep. We know that lack of sleep can
for sure lack of sleep, right? It just amplifies all of that.
Yeah, it's if you've ever had kids and they don't sleep when they're babies, you know what that feeling is like. And compound that week after week, month after month. So we have a lack of productivity and this presenteeism conversation that we have. It's real, but on the other hand, women don't want to bring it up at work because they don't want to be seen as lesser than, incapable of. They don't want to be seen through this narrow lens. So it's kind of this chicken and the egg, right? Like, I need support, and I wish that my organization had menopause support in place, but I don't want to be the one to bring it up because I fear losing my job, or I've worked really hard to get where I am. And so that's why it's important that we look at programming that is holistic, that really changes culture. Because there's kind of a red flag here. If we come in and we conduct a training session, let's say, for all employees, but we haven't trained senior level staff or managers or HR professionals. Now, all of a sudden, we have employees that understand what's happening to their bodies, and they've got information.
They're empowered now.
Ready to go ask for help. And we have managers and supervisors that aren't prepared to answer those questions, or to give them information as to what's offered via the company benefits. They don't know where their guardrails are, right? So we have to change that. I see that she wanted to talk about revenue, and that helps. Yeah, there's a cost to doing nothing too. We tell organizations all the time, you can take this information and do absolutely nothing and go back to your offices or your work environments and go back to that to-do list. But the fact of the matter is that we know that you're losing employees. Even if we look at a bare minimum, we know that 1 in 10 consider leaving the workplace. 1 in 4 will actually leave. Let's just say of those 1 in 4, let's take a quarter of that. Right? If you take a mid-sized organization of 5,000 employees, right, and you're looking at a quarter of them, and even a quarter of them, if you look at the cost of replacing an employee that leads your organization, is 2 to 3 times an annual salary. Now, we're talking about women, we just said it, are at the height of their career, level, right? But even a $40,000 a year salary, that's significant if you do that. Right. So
there's the cost of doing nothing. There's the cost of sweeping it under the rug. Or how about the cost of doing something, but it's not a good thing?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
Do we talk about that?
I love that. Yeah.
Because
talk about the elephants in the room, right?
Right. If companies haven't hired you to come and help them do this thing right, actually, okay, before we go to the don't do this, let's go to let's do this. So give us some examples of companies who are embracing menopause in the workplace in a way that's empowering and supporting. And then we can talk about,
and then we'll
don't do that.
Yeah. And
we won't name names, however.
I think anything is good, right? I think any effort is a start. We have to make sure that we don't stop at certain points, though, that we continue the momentum. So we can kind of come back to that. But CVS Health is a great example. CVS Health.
They should be. I'm just saying.
It should be their healthcare, right? Their healthcare, they have.
If I can get a prescription there for hormone therapy, you better be taking care of your people.
100%, right?
Yeah.
They've been wonderful to work with, though. I mean, CVS Health, if we think about them, they have thousands of employees, and they have different working environments. So they have a headquarters location. They have their retail employees that are working within you know, their retail stores, you have pharmacists, you have Aetna, which is their insurance umbrella. So many, many different types of working environments that we had to consider as we worked with them. And we take a holistic approach. So real quick, we look at 5 different areas when working with organizations. We look at your policies and guidance documents. We look at training and education, working environment, employee engagement, and then overall culture, which all of that kind of bleeds into culture, no pun intended.
Right.
But those are the 5 areas that we look at. So when working with CVS Health, we had to determine where are your gaps. You have programming in place, but let's look at training your managers, right? They haven't been trained. They need to understand what menopause is so they can help their employees.
Right.
It didn't make sense to host a webinar, right? If we hosted a webinar for CVS Health, then half of them wouldn't have been able to make it because they're standing on a retail floor. So you have to look at different formats of training. So we created an e-learning platform for them so their managers could hop on and watch that training at any given time. They could stop it, come back to it, right? And then uniforms, right? Are they breathable? We talk about uniforms a lot, but it's really important. I love to give the example of a dental office that we worked with. So beyond a CVS Health that has hundreds of thousands of employees, you're looking at a dental office that has 15 employees, and the dentist had these lovely scrubs that were custom made, easy to throw in the wash, didn't have to iron them. You need that, right? You're doing laundry every day at the dental office. But they were hotter than snot. They were not breathable.
Not breathable, right?
And you're like, they are dying in these scrubs. You have to think about breathable uniforms, light, cotton, airy, and yeah, you might have to iron them. But you know, it's environments like that that you really have to begin to think outside the box. Another example, same dental office. Their lunch hour was really chaotic. It was kind of a party in the break room during lunch hour, and women were stressed. They needed to regroup. They're up all night, not sleeping because of the night sweats. You can't have flexible hours with a dental office or a healthcare situation because you have patients in front of you. But what you can do is allow breaks for those employees during the day. So the operatories became quiet zone during the lunch hour. It's quiet. We have our AirPods on. We put the chairs back for a half hour and we regroup before we have to come back and see patients again. So those are just a few examples. The Steelworkers Association that we worked with, they didn't have hand sanitizer or toilet paper in their honey buckets. You know, females are using honey buckets. Yeah. We need toilet paper. We need hand sanitizer. And maybe it would be nice for you to put pads and tampons in there as well. What
Great
is she
signal?
do, right?
Great signal. Even if not very many people use them, it's a wonderful signal to their employees that we care. We see
That's
you
right.
and we care.
That's
like,
right.
Unless you're postmenopausal and then you don't need all that other stuff.
And then, yeah, I love that part about postmenopause.
Woo, done with
I don't
that.
know about you, but I am glad I don't have my period anymore.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so you have to think outside the box. Those are just a few examples. I mean, Bristol Myers Squibb, they made sure that they had Wi-Fi outside so that their employees could take their laptops outside and work in the fresh air. Fresh air does wonders for us, right? Especially when we're tired and we're not thinking clearly. But to give their employees that option, like you said, maybe they don't use it, but they feel seen and they feel heard.
Yeah, really great.
Yeah.
Let's see, Christine. And there's often training for pregnancy, rightfully so, but nothing post-reproductive age.
Yeah, it's true.
Nothing. Yes.
We
exactly.
don't. Well, and I have a menstrual health background.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. Menstrual health training needs improvement too. I mean, even that is, you're going to start your period and here's the pads and here's the tampons and go ask your mom.
Right.
And hoping that that's changed.
Let's hope so, but maybe not.
Yeah, yes. I hope it does. Yeah.
Okay, so I love that you gave those examples of big organizations, a small company, dentist, you know, what you things that you can do. Where are companies kind of messing up and not calling companies out because they don't know any better, right? This whole movement is being built from the ground up. Women educating themselves, Going to their doctors still don't know or just learning. Going to HR doesn't know or still learning. So then an organization says, okay, let's do something. Where are they not getting it and going wrong and maybe giving the wrong message?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question, and you're right. We're learning as we go. Everyone is learning as we go. But once we know better, we need to do better, and that's what I always say. So we've got to do better. The single education, single training, we see that often with organizations. We're menopause friendly. We had a training,
One and done.
training.
Yeah. Check the box.
It's a checkbox.
Here's the brochure.
No,
we're done. We're
yeah,
good.
exactly. I mean, even in an hour and a half training that we conduct for employees, we're just skimming the surface. We cannot possibly educate at a level and a depth that does it justice, frankly. We're ages, stages of menopause, averages. What is perimenopause? What is menopause? What are your choices in managing your symptoms? It's basics, and then you have to add depth. So it's that they stop there at a single training. And again, if you're not training your managers and your HR professionals, senior staff separate, it's a different conversation. Yes, they need the same basic information because a lot don't understand what menopause is either, and you need to debunk some of those myths. But you also need a separate training so that they understand how to have conversations, because there are a lot of managers that just can't do this, right? Especially, and I'm not picking on males because they don't know any better. We've often seen where a male will reach out to us and say, I had this conversation with an employee. They want help. What can I say?
Right.
I don't want to be sued. What can I say?
Right.
And we have to take them back to their
Yes.
HR department and work with them and say, here's a framework for this conversation, right? Understand what your company has in place. Here's the 5-step conversation that you have, and really them. The other big thing that I wish that I had a huge megaphone and I could stand on the tallest mountain and shout it. A menopause benefit is not menopause friendly. A menopause benefit is a single piece to the full puzzle. It's a really important piece. I always say a menopause benefit is one of those big corner pieces that you put down first, but all of the smaller pieces have to be filled in the middle as well. A menopause benefit gives a person going through menopause access to specialized menopause care, which is good because we can get her back to the workforce, in this case, faster. She doesn't have to see 7, 8, 9 providers before she gets the help that she needs. She's not going to get gaslit, right? And that list goes on, but it's not culture change. So in order to change the culture where women feel safe having conversations, asking for support, understanding what's happening to their bodies, and having that ongoing regular drumbeat of communication, you need a holistic program.
Is that friendly? Is that considered menopause friendly then? Or
consider menopause friendly.
Or menopause light, because sometimes you can sort of phone it in with that, oh, we're menopause friendly thing. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Menopause friendly is a term that is being thrown around so lightly right now, which frankly is one of the reasons why we mirrored the UK's accreditation program over here in the US. Wanted that to actually mean something, and it really means long-term sustainable change. So I always ask a question to organizations. If the person that is championing menopause within your organization right now leaves or takes another position, is your program going to continue beyond the one person?
Huge.
And if
because that one person can be passionate about it, bring the program, the benefits, but if it doesn't stick, it doesn't have any longevity beyond a succession plan, basically.
That's right. You really want it weaved into the very fabric of the organization, so that it's just a part of what you do. Right. It's not a one-off. It's not the checkbox. It's not the singular training or the benefit. It's the whole.
That's really important.
Keep those 5 areas of focus. Yes.
Yes.
Policies and guidance, training and education, working environment, employee engagement, and culture.
I love it. We can all write those down. Okay, and I'm going to have you share in a minute how women that are listening to this can bring something to their HR department or wherever they should to get the conversation started if it isn't. Okay, let's see what we have. Creative Designs 2 says also having lactation rooms, but nothing for menopausal women. Maybe use another room for naps. Sleepless nights are draining, and you feel checked out. Totally. Have you not walked, you guys, have you walked through the airport and you see those lactation pods? And I'm telling you, I just want to go in there sometimes and close the door. But if you come out with no baby, then you're like, what is she doing in there?
We had those. Don't you wish we had those when we had our babies? It was like,
no, I need it now.
Really?
Now.
Lovely. But, speaking of that, and having conversations with HR, there are companies that we've worked with that have not repurposed, but expanded use of their lactation rooms. You spend a lot of money on lactation rooms, and when they're not in use, they have allowed others, particularly women going through menopause, that just need 5 minutes to regroup, to go in there, take a few breaths, right? Tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, regroup, and come back, right?
Yes.
So you can repurpose and expand use of what you already have.
Doesn't have to cost extra. Can't blame it on that too. Let's see. Members in Life. Did I say that right? Members in Life. She said such great ideas here. Christine said ongoing seminars. Yes, HR and senior management. Yeah. Members in Life says menopause benefits in the workplace. So needed. Right. Oh, Christine, she asked you to repeat those 5 areas of focus. Will you say those one more?
I will say them, and I'll slow it down. Policies and guidance. And by the way, a lot of organizations are moving away from having formal policies, and we're calling them guidance documents. So whatever you're calling them, policies and guidance documents, so that your employees understand what your company policy is and guidance, right? What are you going to do and what aren't you going to do? Training and education at all levels of the organization that we've talked about, and that looks a little bit different depending on the audience. Working environment. So we're talking about this is where we look at accommodations and modifications that we have suggested. Working environment, employee, okay, wait, I got to go back. Policies and guidance, training and education, working environment, employee engagement, and then culture, which is overarching. So you can really think about culture as the overarching umbrella, and everything else feeds up to the culture.
Excellent.
Makes sense.
I was just thinking, I mean, if menopause were already a benefit, like a standard, let's just say we have maternity benefit, right? That's for lack of creativity. If menopause was already a benefit, what do you think that would look like? If it was just, we weren't even talking about this because it was already done, obvious. What do you think that would look like?
And I will, before I answer that, say maybe not menopause benefit, but maybe a menopause friendly culture, right?
Okay.
So if 2 things, if it's a menopause benefit, and
because I'm curious as to why you say that, right? Not necessarily a benefit, but a friendly culture.
If it's a menopause benefit, I think I equate menopause benefit to healthcare and access to a menopause specialist, right? Okay. So you're an organization that has Aetna, we'll use that example again. You have access most likely to MiDOViA, Genève, you fill in the blanks. You have access to menopause specialized care. That's where I equate menopause benefit, right? Okay. If organizations have a menopause benefit, they're going to see a return on that investment guaranteed, because employees have access to menopause specialized care. They're not going to get gaslit. They're going to have solutions. They're going to come back to the workforce healthier, faster. There's a return on that investment. That's almost a no-brainer.
Companies offer regular health care because they want their employees to be well. This is just another element of that. Yeah,
exactly. So it really is a point solution that is smart for organizations. If we look at it from a broader context and we say, what does it look like if organizations have menopause friendly programming in place? So let's say that we have implemented programming with all of those 5 areas or pillars that we just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful world.
It's a beautiful.
Because women, I mean, you look at this little crystal ball, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. I hope that in the next few years we can look back and say, gosh, what a difference it made for women. Because we can have the conversation. It's normal to stand up in front of a meeting and have a hot flash and say, give me just a minute. Let me step out for a minute. Let me get a cold drink of water. You come back and nobody's judging you. You know, it's not all in your head and the little trickster and the stories that we tell ourselves, like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? Do they think I'm lesser than? That fear of judgment, it's gone because we've normalized the conversation at work. We have accommodations. We have flexible working environments. We have access to tampons and pads, which is a simple thing to do in your bathrooms. I can step away from my desk as an employee and take that extra break without my manager questioning my ability or whether or not I'm slacking off, because did you see she took 10 breaks today? Right? It's not even a question.
Because that's the underlying piece of this. Really, right? The worry, the concern that if I step away, if I take a break, if my eyes look like I'm glazed over, because I forgot what I was just about to say, that there's going to be the perception that I'm not on top of my game at work.
That's right. That's right. Again, it comes back to that narrow lens and that judgment. And I do think that I know that there are organizations that this is the environment. So I talked to 2 women in the past 2 weeks who have been put on a PAP plan as soon as they mentioned menopause and needing support from their organizations. One of them has been terminated since.
Wow.
So unfortunately, it is happening in organizations. I hope that it's rare. And I hope that it becomes more and more rare as we implement menopause training and programming and benefits, and we continue to have this conversation. But until then, I do know that there's a lot of misconception, misunderstanding about menopause, and therefore judgment and assumptions that happen on the other end. And we can almost wipe that away. You know, I think about a whiteboard with all of this mess and just literally wipe it all away and start fresh, and let's put truth up on the board. Like, let's just speak truth. Right?
Or become an entrepreneur. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Don't ask for a seat at the table. Just buy your own damn table. And if you don't know what to do, just DM me and I got you covered.
Yeah, go girl. Right.
You know,
like, I mean, there's so many women that do that. They're like, go. You know what I think?
There could be a gift in there, actually. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's freedom, right? It's freedom.
Work a lot, though. You don't think you're going to work less. Just to keep you on the clock.
Yeah, we do what we don't, right? We're like, oh, I don't really care. And that's the beauty of women in midlife, though. We know what we want. We know what we don't want. And even I think in the interview, we're not afraid to say it. Right. You know, here's what I want. Here's what I don't want. Here's what I do. Here's what I won't do. Do you still want me?
Right. Do I even want to be here? Right. Like, I'm not even sure after this conversation.
Yeah. There's freedom in that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've earned it. You know, we've earned it. That is the gift of aging and wisdom and experience and confidence. And so if you're not in an environment that fits who you are today, that's a sign. Like, that's what I'm saying. Right? But if I know here's Christine. She's like, sign me up. I want to know all the things. I know she does. Get ready. She's going to reach out to you in a good way. So let's pull this all together. If somebody is listening here and they are loving what you're saying, they're like, yes, they are feeling, you know, that whole grassroots, like, we need to build this menopause conversation in my company from the ground up because no one's really championing this. What should they do? How can they go about that?
Yeah, you know, first and foremost, I would say educate yourself. Understand menopause. You know, there's a whole book list on our website that you can download if you don't know where to start. Your series, your MenoLounge series, great. There's a lot of information out here too, but educate yourself. Understand what is happening with your own body and your own needs. Start there. Start with yourself. As women, we have a tendency to want to fix the world. Focus on yourself first, right? Understand, and then figure out what your organization already offers, right? So look at your benefits package, understand what they already offer in the way of support. And if they don't offer anything, or they don't have a menopause friendly environment, because now you know what that looks like, have a conversation with HR. Bring it up. And if you're afraid to bring it up from a personal perspective, and maybe you personally need support within the workplace. You can come in and say, hey, I'm having some health challenges. You don't even have to say it's menopause or brain fog or heavy flooding bleeding, but I'm having some medical challenges. Here's what I'm doing for myself, and here's what I need from you. That requires action.
That does. If you say that, they have to listen and move forward, right?
Exactly.
Versus, we need menopause.
We need, right? Here's what I'm doing. Here's what's happening. Here's what I'm doing. And here's what I need from you. And if you want to add a little bit more powerful of a little kicker in the end, you can say, in order for me to continue to thrive at work.
Yeah.
In order for me to continue to be productive. In order for me, right? So it's the yes, right, being this great employee over here. If you want, I would say, if you want to gather a group of individuals, because multiple voices do have impact versus one singular voice, rally your team. If you have an ERG, introduce this conversation to your ERG and make sure that multiple people are asking for that support within your organization. A couple of questions to HR really sets them on a path for investigating. Do we have specialized menopause care benefits?
Do we have
specialized Medicare benefits?
Yes.
Right. Because if you go in and say, do we have benefits? They're going to say, yes, you have access to healthcare providers, but do we have access to specialized menopause care? Do we have an EAP program? Do we have health coaching and access to mental health coaches? Are there accommodations that we have in place if someone needs them going through menopause? If you begin to ask these questions and they don't have the answers, again, it requires action. It requires them to investigate. Bonafide did a survey 2024, I believe, maybe end of 2023, that noted the number one reason why employers don't offer menopause support is because employees aren't asking for it. So it's the chicken and the egg. We need support, but we're not asking for it. So we have to use our voice and we have to speak up, right?
I love that. That's what we have. That's our power, is our voice.
We have to
speak up with our voices. Yes. Yeah. And not just to each other.
And not to each other. Here's the thing too, and the truth of the matter. Organizations want to see the business case. They want to know that they're going to see a return on investment, that they want to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. But that's not the case.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's business, right? There is a financial ROI in supporting women from peri to post.
Right. That's right. And with anything, right? We talked about that in the very beginning. We want our employees to be well because there's a return on that investment for them well and continue to work and thrive.
Right.
So bring them the business case. There's the information is on our website for free. If you click under employers, there's a tab that says bring menopause support to work. And we have the business case that you can download. We have a conversation guide that you can download. And it's literally step 1, 2, 3. Take it and have the conversation.
I love it. And you know what? Let's not be upset that it has to be a business conversation or a financial conversation, because yes, we want to have a wonderful culture in our work life and, our workplace, but it's still business. It's still unless you work for a nonprofit, it still counts, but it's still a business, and it has to generate revenue and it has to generate profit. So let's not minimize the conversation by not being happy that we need to lead with a business case. Because this is business. Your workplace is business. So let's embrace that and use it as the tool and leverage for the power that it is, and not set it aside.
And just meet them where they are, right?
Right.
Go in and you arm yourself with information, and
it's so much easier when you do that.
And, right. rather than just saying, can we have, right?
Or why can't
Build
we
it.
have, or why don't we have? And then instead we're like, look at, if we did, look what it means to
Look
the
at what
bottom
it
line.
save us, right? There's a cost calculator on our website too. An organization can go in and put those numbers in, and it will show them what that return on investment is for their organization. So the numbers are there, right?
Okay, April Haberman, co-founder of MiDOViA. Where is that website? Where is that?
Oh, yes.
Where are those downloads?
Thank you for asking. MiDOViA.com, MiDOVIA.com, or menopausefriendlyus.com. We've got
so good
places you can find us.
So great. We had a lot of fun conversation here from Christine and Creative Designs. And she said, I love that. Embrace the power. We're required to perform to get paid, which brings in revenue. That's how it goes.
Right.
So really good stuff. If you were inspired by this conversation, head over to MiDOViA with an I, .com. And go capture those downloads, read them over, reach out to April. April, can they find you on LinkedIn or Instagram? Where's the best place to?
Yeah, they can. We are MiDOViA on LinkedIn, April Haberman on LinkedIn, or my MiDOViA on Instagram. So
reach out and maybe talk about what's happening in your organization and how MiDOViA might be able to support your initiatives that you're about to start here. I know Christine is about to light a fire in hers. So
good. Go Christine.
AKA Ollie Cassie, just in case when you get that message, you're like, who is that again? So
exactly.
Super good. April, thank you so much for all you're doing. I know there's companies out there who really want to do good in this space, really want to make a difference, but we need more women like you and Kim and MiDOViA that can help them step into who they want to be. They just don't know how.
They don't know how. Exactly. Thanks for reframing that. And thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Come again. Come again. Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, everybody. Be well. See you next time.